Electronic voice phenomenon is when spirits are able to speak and be heard through the veil, and that sound is able to be recorded, whether it's on an audio tape or a video camera. Spirits are still able to talk, although for the most part that sound is not heard by the human ear. There are times when a high-frequency recording equipment is able to pick it up and then replay it. The other phenomenon is called electromagnetic interference, and that's when spirits can interact with your electronics. And you have to remember, they're pure energy, so interacting with your electronic equipment is probably the easiest method of communication for them. They can cause the lights to go really, really bright or really, really dull. They can cause the pages of your computer to scroll wildly or freeze in one location. They can turn on or off your television, your CD player. They can roll up or down the windows in your car, stall the engine, lock or unlock the doors. There's so many ways they're able to interact. And a lot of times people ask me, like, is it a message? Really, the only message is that I'm still here. I am still here, and I am still physically a part of your life. And they just want you to know that. One of my most interactive souls is Marlene, and Marlene stayed with me for 3 years. I wrote a book about she and her son. It's called A Soul Comes Home, and there are details in the notes if you'd like to order a copy. But she would, when I was in the writing process, scroll the pages of my computer screen or freeze them. And at first it freaked me out, and I thought, oh my God, I'm losing my stuff, you know, like, and I had like hundreds of pages of writing. And really all it was is she wanted to be directly involved in the writing process. So what I learned to do is when the pages scrolled wildly, I would sit back and I would wait for them to just stop. And I would pay attention to what I was thinking at that time or what I was about to write. And I would say to her, does that mean you want me to put it here? And I would wait for what I call a ding or a nudge or something, or the cursor to move, because sometimes the cursor would just move by itself. And I would wait for a prompt from her that, yes, this needs to go here. Likewise, when the page froze and I was about to write something, I'd sit back and go, okay, where do you want it? You know, you show me. And she was very interactive spiritually in the writing process, and if it weren't for privacy issues with her family, I would have loved to have given her equal credit for the writing, because she so totally deserved it, because she really directed that whole process. She also interfered with the electronics in other ways, and when I was going through that process with her, which really started in November of 2004 and continued till May of 2007, I went for counseling, because with so many strange interactions between us, and I'm okay hearing the voices of people who died. That's my comfort zone. But I had so many things that were happening within my physical body and within myself that didn't make sense that I sought counseling. And when I would go for my counseling session, she would say to me, bring your tape recorder. I would actually sometimes double back to get it because I'd forgotten it. And I would set the recorder down on the table between myself and my therapist, Chris, and I would just leave it there. Just press record and leave it alone. And the next day, in this one I'm about to play you, she prompted me to rewind it and to listen back to it. And I'm thinking, why? I just went through the counseling session. There's really no reason for me to listen back to it. But she gave me this little push, and I thought, okay, I will. So I sat and I listened back to it. And partway through the tape, this is what happened. Now, remember that, and I mean, some people will think that this has been doctored in some way. Trust me, I have the original cassette recording, but I've transferred the blurb itself to an audio CD so that it's just easier. So it's about a minute and a half long, and this is part of my counseling session, and I'm going to let you listen here.
I know it does, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I've gone to see, like I said, I didn't pass that journey with Ellen just because nothing about this whole thing has been normal. No. You know what I mean? You know yourself.
You can turn up the volume.
Somebody, the spirits come, they give you the information, you pass it on, they leave, taking all their stuff with them, and you're left with nothing. Right. I've been left with so much emotional baggage.
Okay, this is 25 seconds in. I don't want to play the whole thing because I think it's kind of long and you really don't need to know the whole conversation. I just want you to see the effect of it. So if you can hear well here, you hear that it is normal speaking voices that we have. So I'm going to play it, but I'm going to move it forward a little bit.
From this, and all the way along, like each step, I was kind of thinking, okay, what's going on here? Watching TV with my daughter, and she'd look over at me, and she would just smile and laugh, and I'm going.
Apparently this is not the shortened version that I thought I had. So I'm just going to fast forward some more.
I really couldn't even tell
Notice the change of voices.
Now, I don't know how you want to go about doing the closure on Wednesday, but if you feel at all like you want me to be a part of the process,
Okay, so this is almost an hour in.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I keep looking at you with all this and going, yeah. You know, it's just not right. Okay, so, sorry, what? No? I'm amazing tired. Isn't it just way too much to wrap your brain around on one day?
Okay. Notice how it's speeding up.
Okay, we're doing the tone of doors. All right, you're going to have closure, right? Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully. This is closure? Yes, oh my God. Okay.
So this is 58 minutes in.
Go
a little bit further ahead.
Wake up on the board, boy. Even though it's summer, like there's so much happening, you know, with like directing me in terms of, and you know, it's fun because literally she does take over. I really can just step back and she just takes over. Like,
now we sound like chipmunks.
There's no way in hell I'm doing this. How do you feel about that? Here's something that doesn't bother me so much. You know, I trust her implicitly because I know she's coming from a place of love and concern and not a place of, you know, it's like the last letter she channeled Church Stewart. He was actually so afraid to read it, you know? And I just think this is your mom. Hello?
So this is how this sounds.
She's not saying anything that's going to hurt you. She's not trying to, you know, we both have trusted her implicitly over the summer. And, you know, everything that she's done has been for the greater good, you know? So as much as I'm maybe emotionally confused by all of this, and I may look at all this and go, this is insanity, I also know that, you know what? If she's doing it, there's got to be a good reason for it. Because she wouldn't go to all this. I mean, I think that's
And then at the end, it just kind of curls up, speeds up even more. And then it just stops. And then I turned it over to the other side and it went on as completely normal. Now this is one. This was in October of 2005 when I had gone for a counseling session. And the funny thing was, when I played it for my husband, he actually said to me, maybe the batteries were weak. But anybody who knows anything about electronics knows that if the batteries are weak, it's going to drag. It's not going to speed up like that. And it just got progressively worse through the hour, and then towards the end, like I said, it just curls up at the end and then stops. Now this next one I'm going to play is from 2006, April of 2006. And again, I was doing a book talk. I just hook up my lapel microphone. Oh, I'm just going to pause it here. I hook up my lapel microphone, and I would just talk either to Stuart or to Marlene, but I was processing the information and how to write it and how best to do it and what should be said, etc. And I actually had the cassette player on the floor beside me because I was doing some work in my room at the time, and the cassette player was just, I hit record, I just set it on the floor, I have my lapel microphone, and away I go, just doing a dialogue. So nothing was being touched. So I'm just going to, now this is at the 11-minute mark, so I'm just going to speed this forward a little bit. Okay, there we go. And you'll hear.
Burning images of you into a conjoined heart. I mean, I was serious about that. There are the slightest little details that I would notice, and I would think, okay, why am I focused on that? The way your hair would fall, like behind your ear, the way you hold your spoon, the way you walk, just so many little things that normally, under normal circumstances, I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. I don't care how you hold your fork. It doesn't matter how you have. I don't even care if you have hair. It really doesn't. Oh my God! This whole thing has just, as you can tell, blown the roof off of my coconut because it just boggles my brain. It boggles my brain that all of this has happened the way it has happened, and I don't know, it just, as you can tell, I mean, sometimes I can't even get the words out because it's like, there's so much still inside of me that I just kind of laugh at it. I kind of go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I behaved that way. I did it all the I'm just sorry we just killed you in the process. I mean, I know we didn't. It's just at the time I felt like we were. I really honestly felt like we're killing him. We gotta stop doing this. But the more my mind is going, the more I work out, the more I think about it, the more, it just always comes back to me how truly incredible your mom is, and how strong she is, and how willing she is to act on your behalf. And I find that I don't convey that well enough in the, I'm just getting some bunny bears here. I think for bunny bears. But I just find the whole thing just out of her brain. And she's incredible. She's incredibly strong. Absolutely, my God, she was unbelievable. I have so much respect for her. And not condemning the story. I'm not condemning the story. I'm just so cautious about it. And I learned that once because that was never intention. Because she never was that way. Yeah, sure, because she doesn't know where she is. It's just trying to start about it's not her story.
Chipmunks again. Okay.
Okay, it's still, oh my God, it's still the, God, what day is this? The 20th of January. It's always amazing to me. I'm making this tape.
Okay.
Not really.
So, what you heard there was, like I said, the tape just sped up by itself and then came to a complete stop. And when I looked over, I realized that the tape was stopped, so I rewound it to see where I had left off in my dialogue. And when I heard it, it was like, oh my God, that's so cool. It's funny because often I find when I'm talking about Marlene and I'm saying how incredible I think she was, or what an amazing thing I think this was she attempted to do for Stuart, that's always when the tape speeds up or something kind of electromagnetic wise happens, especially when I'm recording. And again, I wasn't touching the cassette recorder, it was just sitting on the floor, and you can hear the noise in the background because I was doing stuff and I was just jibber-jabbering away, not for the purpose of playing it for anybody, but more for my own sake, in terms of me working through what I needed to work through at that time. So that's now two that both included Marlene. And this third one here that I'm about to put in is only about a second long, so I'll play it a couple of times. But on April the 9th of this year, I was doing a session with a lady, and when I put my voice recorder on, again, my process is the same. I have a microphone. I usually hit record. I set the voice recorder on the couch or chair beside me, whatever. I don't hold on to it.
And I often look down to make sure that everything, and that's recording, because I do know that spirit interaction sometimes causes things to go funky. But in this case here, when I went to replay it at the end for the client, and I went to transfer the audio to CD, all we got was this, and I have no idea what this is. I have never heard it before, and it was just so strange. Okay, where is it now? Oh, you can't hear it actually. No. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to play that because it's not, the volume is not such, I don't think. Let me just see if I can turn it up a little bit, because it is just 1 second of yeah, no, it's not really sufficient, but I have no idea what that is anyway. A couple of times. But like I said, electronic voice phenomena is when spirits can actually talk to you and be heard and captured on an audio. And you see that a lot of times when it comes to ghost hunters. They like to go in with the high frequency recording equipment and pick up any sound. And not every sound that gets picked up is a spirit. I mean, let's face it, we live in an age of satellites, cell phone towers everywhere, all kinds of chatter across the wires. So certainly some of the high frequency sounds that are picked up are simply chatter across the universe, and it just happens to get captured. But there are times when spirits do speak and you are able to hear them, and it sounds
to sometimes otherworldly. But the electronic or electromagnetic interference, rather, is probably the easiest thing for them to do. And never discredit it if it happens to you. If you're driving under a street light and the street light goes out, that indicates there's a spirit with you. You know, if you happen to do a recording like this and the tape suddenly speeds up and then comes to a complete stop, that's a spirit interaction. Because unless you're doctoring it in some way, or really, I don't even know how you would do that to make it speed up. To slow down, dead batteries. Absolutely, time to change the batteries. But the spirit world is always communicating with us and interacting with us, and they love to be remembered, and obviously Marlene likes to be talked about. So I just wanted to share that with you.